white ship. She was one of the fastest vessels that was ever built. The man who should be king of the English now, the son of King Henry, was on board when she sailed off. And with the prince there were 140 knights and many nobles, all on their way from Normandy to England. They say the ship hit the rocks, and then a fire broke out. Even before the white ship had departed, the prince and his men had begun to drink and get violent. Monks that were meant to bless the voyage were then forced to disembark. Some say the ship had been cursed. The king's son and many of his family were pulled down into the Black Sea that night.
You're forgetting one important detail. Not only these monks, but also Stephen of Blois, the king's nephew, left the ship before it embarked. They say he got ill.
That old rumor.
The same Stephen who calls himself the King of the English now.
What? That cannot be a coincidence.
Yes, it can be. Of course he's king now. He survived. He is the king's nephew.
What do you think, my lord?
I think Stephen is a clever man. Clever enough to have his whole family perish. But why he would want to rule that god-forsaken rock, I will never understand.
What makes you say that? I love my country.
Then why are you leaving?
Well, because I want to see something new.
I'll tell you what you're going to see. A proper country, where people know how to behave.
What about you? Why are you leaving?
I had no reason to stay.
Really? Huh. I guess I should stay out of other people's business. Forgive me.
You English do talk a lot, don't you?
I just don't know how to feel about leaving my country for the first time. I mean, how should anyone feel?
Hopeful?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just running away.
You should all get some rest. It will not be long now till we reach Cherbourg.
Thank the Lord. I can't wait to be back.
In the late summer of 1142, I had left my home country, England, for good. My old life lay in shambles, as did my former home of Kingsbridge. Having failed both my friends and family, I had set out to find my baby's father, the man I still loved with all my heart, Jack Jackson. And so early one morning in July, I finally arrived on the shores of Normandy. With nothing on me but a pouch of coin and a young, curious face yet unnamed, who was just as unfamiliar to this new world as was I. You're still here?
Oh, it's you. I'm just trying to get my feet used to good solid ground again. The last bit of our voyage wasn't exactly my pint of ale.
That hammer you're carrying, do you happen to be a mason?
Actually, I am. You have a keen eye, mistress.
I guess I just know a mason when I see one.
To be honest, I haven't been one long. Just finished my apprenticeship in Salisbury. Before that, I used to shear sheep with my parents, but I guess that wasn't really for me. Father still hates me for leaving, though.
What will you do to find work here as a mason?
Don't know. That's for me to find out. All I heard was that the wages are better over here.
So you'll just travel from town to town and look for employment?
Right. And I'll start in Lassay. A fellow mason told me about the abbey there. He said these Normans build their churches quite differently than we do back home. I need to see that with my own eyes. Maybe learn a thing or two.
Do many masons go to Lassay?
Dunno. It's really just a tiny town. The mason who told me just happened to do some repairs there once. It's likely he told others as well.
I left my old life as well.
Scary, isn't it? To start off fresh and all that.
Well, you definitely sound more excited than scared.
Oh, I am excited. Wouldn't anyone be?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm looking for someone. A red-haired mason called Jack Jackson. He came to France about a year ago or so.
A fellow mason, great. Unfortunately, I wouldn't know a thing. After all, I just arrived here with you.
I know, but should you meet someone like that on your journey, tell him Aliena of Shiring is looking for him.
All right. Jack Jackson. I'll keep an eye out for you.
Thank you. Have a safe journey.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Where did you go, Jack? Where did you go, Jack? No, maybe I should just get going. Good day. I am looking for someone. A traveller who came through here last summer. Oh, hush now. I need to talk to this man.
Looks young.
He was born at the beginning of summer.
What's his name?
I haven't given him one yet.
You should. He needs to know who he is. Makes growing up a lot easier. You said you're looking for someone.
The man I'm looking for looks a bit like you, actually. A bit more boyish, though.
So he has red hair, but no beard. Well, I don't know every redhead around these parts. There are quite a few of us. Most of my family here in Cherbourg is ginger.
Oh, his name is Jack Jackson, and he is a mason.
No, sorry, I haven't seen him. And I come here every day. And maybe Amay saw him. She helps the sailors get their cargo to the nearby towns. Carries travellers, too.
I'll ask her. Well, thank you.
Hey, you. That's quite a bundle you got there. Where are you headed?
Have you seen a red-haired mason? You must have landed here sometime late last summer.
Another ginger in Normandy? I wouldn't have noticed, even if he was carrying a hammer instead of a fishing rod. Maybe you should ask someone in Barfleur. That's where all the travellers come through, the pilgrims and kings. Their lot rarely lands in Cherbourg, with the fortress passing back and forth between Stephen of Blois and Geoffrey of Anjou. Why you even came to Cherbourg in the first place baffles me.
It was the earliest ship I could get.
You must be in some hurry, madam.
Let's just say I needed to get away before I changed my mind.
Fine with me. Who am I to judge?
What other routes are there besides going through Barfleur?
Oh, I don't know, really. You need to ask the locals about that. But Barfleur sounds like a good place to start. Shake my hand and I'll take you there.
Do you know the road to Lessay?
Been there, seen it. But I hope you're not planning to go there on foot. Tell you what, you give me some coins and I'll treat you to me wagon. You can even change your destination once we're on the road, would you say?
All right, take me out of town.
All right, where do you need to be?
Lessay was tiny, but as it turned out, worth the trip. In the small abbey church of the Trinity, I met a monk who claimed to have talked to a man fitting Jack's description. He'd been fascinated by the abbey's rib vaulting and had asked the monks countless questions about the place's construction. The monk apologized that he couldn't tell me where Jack had traveled next, but I didn't mind. I lay down to sleep on the floor of the Abbey guest house and, for the first time in almost a year, I felt relief. As I drifted into sleep, I hugged our baby tight and whispered into his tiny pink ear, "We're going to find your daddy." My father had once told me tales of the Mont Saint-Michel. Long ago, the Archangel Michael had urged Hubert of Avranches to build an abbey on a lonely rock on the ocean by burning a hole into his head. They say one can go and see his penetrated skull on display in the church of his hometown. It was a windy day when I arrived, and the place was crowded with pilgrims and jongleurs. I remembered Jack's fascination with these tellers of stories. I spoke to one who was just taking a break. As it happened, he had indeed met Jack, although not in Mont Saint-Michel, but on a road heading east from there. Apparently, Jack had been hopelessly tracking jongleurs who might have known his father, Jack Cherbourg. But as he'd been gradually running out of money, he'd intended to look for work in Le Mans or Tours. That was about 6 months ago. I was catching up. Going to Le Mans reminded me of all the trouble I'd left behind in England. 30 years ago, Le Mans had been conquered by the Plantagenet Geoffrey of Anjou, Maud's husband. And although they'd held it ever since, other noble families kept on pulling at the city, like Maud and Stephen tearing at England. There was no sign of Jack, but I got news of a new kind of cathedral being built in Saint-Denis, just north of Paris. It was possible that Jack had gone there to learn from the craftsmen. That was, if he hadn't travelled further south, looking for work in one of the many churches in Tours, the hometown of Saint-Martin. North of Paris, I visited the construction of the great cathedral of Saint-Denis. It was far from finished, but already I could feel its magnificence. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. I assumed if Jack had come near Paris, he would have ended up here. Unfortunately, I was wrong. No one among the army of masons raising the cathedral of Saint-Denis had known him. My stomach churned when I realized that my strenuous walk to Paris had been for naught. Good day. Are you the master builder?
What is it?
I'm looking for a mason who may have passed through here. An Englishman with carroty hair. He calls himself Jack Jackson.
A redhead?
Yes. Did you see him? He might have asked for work here.
No, I'm not looking for new masons. We're just doing repairs.
Ah, but was he here?
No, never seen him. Now, stand back, woman. Something could fall on your baby's head.
May I talk to your workers?
No, they're busy. And I can assure you they have nothing to say on that matter.
Perhaps I'll talk to them once they've finished for the day.
It would be a waste of time.
You hesitated when I mentioned a redhead. Are you sure you haven't seen him?
Yes, I am sure.
I don't believe you.
Well, that's your problem, not mine.
Why won't you tell me what you know?
All right, he was here. Was working for me. But I had to throw him out after 2 or 3 days.
Why?
Because he was all want. Let me redesign the roof, let me make the nave lighter. All pretty ideas, but he never shut up long enough to do the work he was supposed to do. Shit, that man was almost as needy as my son when he was still a brat.
He does know a lot about his craft.
Well, I know masons like him. They grow up gifted but without a mote of discipline in their guts. Can't work with someone like that.
Do you know where he went next?
No idea. Maybe to Limoges or Angoulême. Maybe even to La Rochelle. Seemed to have plans for every cathedral on God's green earth, but none for himself.
I understand. I'll leave you to it then.
Bon voyage.
We had just left Tours when I suddenly felt dizzy. I stopped and made rest, trying to catch my breath, then lost my breakfast in a ditch at the side of the road. To my horror, our baby too had grown pale, his breath shallow like that of an old man. I tried not to panic, but the next inn was a long distance away and we couldn't stay on the road where it was wet and cold. I managed to walk until the sun had fully risen before I keeled over. A knife merchant who'd been travelling behind me flagged down a coach heading back to Tours and haggled with the coachman to carry me back to an inn. Back in Tours, the fever got worse. I remember people carrying me into a room, laying me on a bed. I tried to feed my baby, but after that everything turned into a blur. When I awoke, Jack was standing next to my bed. He scolded me for following him. "You know you could go anywhere you want," he whispered. "Why be stupid and follow me?" I tried to answer, but he just opened the window and jumped out, heading toward ancient Greece, or maybe all the way to Arabia. And in my feverish mind, I followed him. The further I went, the angrier I got. For years, I'd been fighting for my family. I'd committed myself to an oath to my father. I'd built up a business to sustain it and even married a man I despised so I could create a future for the people around me. I'd known nothing but my duty to the men in my life, while the man I was trying to find lived a life of casual irresponsibility. He travelled the world on a whim to learn about mathematics and philosophy, while I had to raise the child he'd fathered. When could I ever do anything just for myself? I asked the world as I went on. I'd travelled in a circle all the way to the edge of the world and back, only to return to the place of our failure. With my eyes closed, I listened to the sound of ripping yarn and crumbling walls, and of coaches carrying good people away into a cloud of crimson dust. When the last moat had settled, I opened my eyes again and found myself in a dirty little room. An old maid was sitting next to my bed and smiled at me, then handed me my baby. Oh, dear God, he still looked so pale. I tried to feed him, but he refused. Oh, please, God, let him live. Don't punish him for my own sins. I gently caressed his head until finally he put his mouth to my breast and drank more and more, becoming greedier with every swallow. We had both been spared. We rested one more day. Then I gathered my things and headed back to the cathedral to thank the Lord for his mercy. I thank you, dear Lord.
All right, steady now.
I thank you for having spared my child. I thank you for...
Don't let go until it's done.
But why are you showing mercy on me? I failed everyone I cared about. I failed Jack. I failed my brother. And if I never return, I would also break the oath I had given Father. It's just that I feel like I've never had a life of my own. I've always fought for others. And this may be the very first time that I fight for something that I only want for myself. Maybe I should just go back and help rebuild Kingsbridge. Maybe Jack doesn't even care for me anymore. Amen. Huh. I've seen one of those before.
It's amazing, isn't it? The man who did that really had it in him.
Had what in him?
The spirit of a true mason. It's a shame that the master let him go. In just 1 month, he did so many things.
The master builder said he'd fired him after just 3 days.
Did he? Well, maybe that's how he remembers it. The two didn't really see eye to eye, you know? To tell you the truth, everyone thinks that he feared for his own job having someone like that around. The last thing Jack did was carve that corbel. It was the one thing the master let him do. Then when he was done, he was asked to leave.
Your master said he had no discipline.
Let me tell you something. Jacques worked very hard on it. He was impatient and had a temper, but you could see that he tried to overcome it. Conquering that rock was very important to him.
Oh, I understand that so well. Do you happen to know where he went next?
He wanted to walk the pilgrim trail to Santiago de Compostela.
The Camino? The Way of St. James?
He said he might find someone there who knew his father.
Just one more thing. How was he when he left?
Never thought about that. Relieved, I guess. He seemed ready for something new.
Thank you so much for your help.
Think nothing of it. And good luck on your travels. May you find what you are looking for.
Isn't it odd? Just when you stop looking, you come across the most curious of things. Like these 3 devices that one of my merchants brought back from Baghdad.
Oh no. Is it another one of your Banu Musa toys, Rashid?
They're not toys, Adriel. They're objects of scholarly ingenuity and reflection.
I will let my valued friend from the north do the honors. Jack, if you may. For one, let me draw your attention to the magnificent songbird on the table. And then to that wondrous donkey next to the entrance. Although, the most astounding thing of all stands right between them. On second thought, why don't you save the lady for last? Otherwise, the other 2 devices might appear bland and boring in comparison.
I agree.
That statuette?
Haha, precisely. But one thing at a time. Let us let Jack decide what to demonstrate first.
Nice. No, it's too heavy.
Now, watch the head. Just any moment now. There. Did you see?
It threw up.
Rashid, this is disgusting.
Oh, far from it. Would you kindly explain how it works, Jack?
It's pure magic.
Is it? I've heard that these northerners believe in all kinds of things.
That God has a son made of flesh and blood, for example.
Mocking one's prophets can go in both directions, Adriel.
I am very certain that my God can take your weak little jokes, Rashid.
So, how does it work?
That small floating bowl has a hole at the bottom, gradually filling it with water. Once the bowl is full, it pulls on a string, making the ball drop from the mouth. The ball then hits a weight, pulling the bowl back up, thus resetting the entire mechanism.
If you timed it perfectly, you could make it drop a ball at every hour.
Turning it into a clock. How clever.
For me, it's still nothing more than a puking donkey.
Show us more, Rashid.
Anyone care for some tea?
Thank you, my daughter. We will have some as soon as Jack has finished our presentation.
Mind if I watch?
Of course not.
So, who is this man, Rashid?
Jack is a friend of the house. A brilliant man, a scholar and a talented artist. Just the other day, he explained Euclid to me.
And now?
Now, we need to add some water.
What is that?
I could watch this man scoop up water all day.
A Greek who wrote a book called The Elements of Geometry. It's so beautiful it will make you cry. Just listen.
How marvelous!
How does it work?
Maybe it's a miracle.
Right.
Go on, Jack. Tell them.
It is possessed by an evil spirit.
Is this what you people tell each other in your church, Rashid? That modern machinery is created by the devil?
Of course not. Jack is just teasing you. What happens is this. There is a water wheel hidden in the back, rotating an axis that in return moves a sequence of small cylinders. It lifts and drops these cylinders like fingers playing a flute.
But who is blowing into the flute?
Steam.
Steam?
Yes. When I opened the pipe, it gradually pushed itself into the tube.
The power of steam. For once, I must agree, this is brilliant.
Of course! It was created by a Muslim after all.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. What else have you got, Rashid?
One could join those two and build a singing donkey clock. One song after every hour.
That would be pretty clever.
I know, right? You could be the one to build it.
Oh, that would be unfair. It's your invention.
I would let you have it. Or we design it together.
You still haven't shown us that statuette yet.
Of course. Jack, if you may. The Egyptians translated it into Arabic, and now the Englishmen are turning it into Latin.
Rashid, when this is done, would you give me the statuette in exchange for my slingshot?
Only if you can tell me how she works.
It's a deal.
And you finish the performance for my friends.
Yes, go on, please.
How very peculiar.
Oh, you will love this. Just watch. For one, let me draw your attention to the magnificent songbird on the table. And then to that wondrous donkey next to the entrance. Otherwise, yeah. Although the most
No, it's too
astounding
heavy.
thing of all stands right between them.
That statuette?
Haha, precisely. But one thing at a time. Let us let Jack decide what to demonstrate first. Now, watch. Just any moment now. There. Did you see?
It threw up. Rashid, this is disgusting.
Oh, far from. Would you?
You see that bowl floating on at the what? If
Anyone care for some tea?
Thank you.
So, who is this man, Rashid? I could watch the...
Jack is a friend of the house. And now, a brilliant man, a scholar and a talented artist. Just the other day, he explained Euclid to me.
What is that?
A Greek who wrote a book called The Elements of Geometry. The Egyptians translated it into Arabic, and now the Englishmen are turning it into Latin.
How very peculiar.
It's so beautiful it will make you cry. Just listen. Well, how to make you go?
there's a hit. The power of
Let's... What?
One could once.
that.
Oh, you will love this. Just watch.
This isn't part of the presentation.
Don't let me distract you, Jack.
And now?
Just be patient, but don't look away. It takes some time for her to...
To do what?
Is it crying?
Isn't that amazing?
No, it's irritating. Rashid, what is going on?
It's a mystery.
Rashid, please.
We all know that there is no such thing as a man-made miracle.
And this piece of wood is very clearly made by man.
I very much agree, my friends. But so far, none of us has an explanation.
All we know for certain is that her glassy eyes shed tears when you move her from warmth into cold.
Like a plant at sunrise. Like dew. The only difference is the surface. That's all.
I think you may be onto something.
Am I? Of course, I had no intention of disturbing your conversation. But if you can find out why there's dew gathering on a plant, you may understand why that woman is so weepy. So, who wants a cup of tea?
I'll have some.
Your daughter is quite something, Rashid. A scholar in her own right.
I know. I'd rather she wasn't. It would make marrying her off so much easier.
Oh, I'm certain that won't stay a problem for long.
Maybe the dew originates from invisible water in the air. Water that stays hidden when it's hot.
The pilgrim trails across France converged at Osterbat in the foothills of the Pyrenees. There, the group of 20 or so pilgrims who had been travelling alongside me since I'd left Tours swelled to about 70. Some were prosperous citizens, some probably on the run from justice, a few drunks and several monks and clergymen. Several languages were spoken, including Flemish, a German tongue, and a southern French language called Oc. Nevertheless, there was no lack of communication among them, and as we crossed the Pyrenees, they sang, played games, told stories, and in several cases had love affairs. While my baby and I kept mostly to ourselves.
Ganz schön frech, die mit ihrem Kind.
Hush now,
Richtig dreist. Kann ein Mann nicht einfach mal seine Ruhe haben? Der Weg aus Babenberg war doch anstrengend genug. Ein Kind hat ja auch gar nichts verloren. Stimmt doch, oder?
Jetzt ist aber gut.
I'm sorry. He has to cry himself out before he'll fall asleep. It will give you a strong voice one day, won't it? Do you have children?
Come back to me. Please come back to me.
Dear Lord, what are you doing? You should get out of the water. It's freezing.
My ring. I lost my ring. Dear Lord, please show mercy. Where are you? Where did you go?
I'm glad I never had to use my dagger on my journey. I'm only keeping it for emergencies. She's not listening. Where are you, Jack?
Come back to me. Please come back to me.
I found it.
Yes! Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You are a very kind woman. So very, very kind.
I'm glad I could help.
Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
I can see this ring is very precious to you.
It was a gift from my stepmother. She thought I would stay forever, but I didn't.
Tell me about your stepmother.
She was such a kind woman. So very, very kind.
Why did you leave?
Oh, I thought I didn't belong. She always said I was her daughter, but I was sure she was lying. I was so selfish and so stupid. Too stupid to see I really was happy.
Maybe you really weren't happy.
I don't know. I was very young and thought I was unhappy because I didn't live close to the sea. But in the end, the sea did not feel the same about me. The cold there made me sick. It took away my sight.
Why didn't you go back?
She had been so angry when I left. So angry and disappointed. She would have never let me return.
Ah, that's why you went on the pilgrimage.
Yes, so that St. James might see my devotion, and I will be united with my mother in heaven. I'm just not as kind as you. Not kind at all.
You're too hard on yourself.
I don't know.
I too am trying to make amends with the one man I loved the most. I was told he went straight to Santiago.
You will know soon.
Not soon enough. It's still 4 weeks till I get there.
He'll be there, I'm sure of it.
I hope so. I just feel that with every day that passes, I'm losing him a bit more. And that the only thing I can allow myself still to hope for is not love, but forgiveness.
I understand.
Hey, hush now. Not long now and our journey will be over, hmm? woman's name was Alba. She came from a small town somewhere in Catalonia. I quickly got used to her constantly feeling out for her stepmother's ring and the sad guilt that would always follow in her milky eyes. I wasn't sure if she appreciated my company, but I couldn't leave her on her own either. By the time we reached Los Arcos, she'd stopped talking, while I kept on dropping a kind word here and there to let her know I was still by her side. Alba believed herself to be of weak mind and body, and yet she walked the Camino with a strong sense of purpose that willed her onward. It made me wonder about what I'd told her about my own journey. Did I hope for love, or was I really traveling because I needed him to forgive me? But what was there to forgive? My decision to marry Alfred had been in the best interest of the people of Shiring. It was a sacrifice I had to make to stop the evil reign of William Hamley. These questions had haunted me for a long time now. But if I really was going to see Jack soon, it was time to make up my mind. Around Lyon, the path began to gradually turn uphill. It was only 2 more weeks till we'd reached Santiago. The baby was in a good mood, and so, surprisingly, was Alba. After Astorga, the trail got more difficult. Alba became slower and slower, and we had to rest more. She became quiet again. The strain on her old body grew, and she worried that she might not be able to reach the end. Still, we managed to push onward. The next morning, she refused to get up. Her breathing was disturbingly shallow, and she hardly noticed me touching her forehead. "Everything hurts," she said, and urged me to continue without her. Of course, I stayed with her. I brought her food and water and sat by her side. But day after day, her condition grew worse. She kept on urging me to go, to find Jack, saying the monks of Ponferrada would take care of her. I'd hardly known her, and most of the time she'd tried to push me away, as if she considered herself a nuisance that slowed me down and who didn't deserve company. It wasn't until a few moments before she died that, for the first time, she smiled at me, and I like to believe that she saw me smile back. I still like to believe that here, in this unlikely place, dying next to a near stranger, she'd found a moment of serenity and happiness, but she'd not reached Santiago. When I left, that thought still haunted me. To see that a journey could come to an end so suddenly. But what would be different if she had reached Santiago? Could she have been disappointed by what she found? After months of hard travel, the child and I finally reached Santiago de Compostela. In the evening, we attended Mass in the great cathedral, then started to roam the town looking for my dear Jack. It was almost dawn when finally a priest pointed me to an inn close by. Buenos dias. Do you understand me?
Sinto cho ben, pero non temos camas dispoñibles.
No, I don't need a room. I was told a friend of mine stayed here some time ago. A red-haired Englishman called Jack. Do you remember him?
Eu só che falo en galego, miña rula.
Francais? English? Have you seen a man called Jack Builder? Jack? He's a mason.
Jack?
Yes, have you seen him?
Pásanche por aquí centos de peregrinos e cada un eche de seu pai. Vas ter que ser algo máis específica.
I don't understand.
Oh, que cousiña! Eche rubio.
Sí, redhead. Can you give us some food? Comida?
Se queres xantar, terás que pagar. Síntocho, pero non es a única muller cun fillo que ven por aquí pedindo comida.
Have you seen his father, Padre del Niño? Jack Builder?
Ven sendo un peregrino?
What?
É un peregrino?
Oh, no. He's not a pilgrim.
Entón, quen ven sendo?
Let me show you something. She's seen enough of him.
Isto pertence ao teu amigo.
See, it's his. This is my amigo's. He's a mason. He likes to build things.
Build things.
How do I tell her what I mean? Oh, can you help us translate?
O inglés non cho falo, desculpa.
He likes to craft things, like jars or strange machinery.
Oh, e que diantres andará a dicir a muller esa?
She knows that Jack likes to read. Now I need to somehow tell her that he's a mason. He's a mason. He builds things like that.
Ah, eche masón. Albanel.
Sí, a mason. It's the same word in Galician.
Por aquí pasan unha morea de masóns. Non me poderías dicir algo máis sobre el?
Oín falar dun masón que dis que se dedica a traducir libros en Toledo.
Polo visto, di que se chama Jack.
Yes, Jack. Have you seen him?
Non sei cal será o seu apelido, pero ben é certo que non chai moitos masóns rubios aos que lles guste ler. Se tan desesperada está, por que non vai a Toledo a comprobalo por si mesma?
Entón, marchou para Toledo.
He went to Toledo?
A Toledo marchou, sí.
Di que o teu Jack podría estar en Toledo.
All right, so I will go to Toledo then. Gracias. I just pray that I understood you correctly. Buenos dias. Parlez-vous français? English?
Of course. How may I help you?
I was told a man named Jack Builder lives in this house.
Who told you this?
A group of scholars living at the edge of town. They said he used to translate old scriptures about mathematics before he moved here.
Please wait here. I will talk with Master Rashid.
It's his.
you are. May I ask who let you stroll around our house?
I travelled hundreds of miles looking for a man called Jack Builder. A scholar told me that I would find him here.
Yes, my servant told me already. My father's not here at the moment, so you'll have to make do with me. Unfortunately, I must disappoint you. There's no one called Jack living in this house.
Please, let me talk to him.
I'm sorry, but this is not easy for any of us. I think you should know that Jack and I are promised to each other. Maybe we should go inside. The sun's burning, and my mother doesn't need to hear us. Jack told me about you. You are Aliena. You're the one who rejected him and married his stepbrother. And now you want him back.
I'm here because I love him.
He always said that he had come here to find out about his family. But instead, he found out about everything else. About philosophy, mathematics. When he and my father met, it was love at first sight. They studied together and made great plans. But in the end, Jack would always start talking about his cathedral again. This great church he would build one day. Rib vaults and pointed windows. He'd ramble on about it for hours and stare up at that ceiling. We three sat here for hours and talked, and then in the evenings it would be just the two of us. So many strange ideas about the future. Some barely more than silly dreams. Others almost in arm's reach.
You're talking about him as if he were gone.
Well, he's not here anymore. My father had offered him work as a master builder here in Toledo. He would have been well off and free to spend his evenings under vaults like this, with me as his wife. But in the end, he refused. Tell me, did you really marry his stepbrother?
It was the hardest decision I ever made. But it also felt like a sacrifice I had to make to fulfill a promise I made to my father. It was all for nothing. I thought I had no choice. I didn't want to hurt him. Believe me.
I do. You know, he left me because of you. Even after all you did to him, he couldn't let go. You can be glad that you ran into me and not my mother. She was enraged when he left.
He can have that effect on people.
But apart from that, we made our peace with him. Father even gave him one of his favorite pieces of his collection as a parting gift. A small wooden statue with stone eyes in exchange for his slingshot.
Would you mind telling me where he went?
He went to Paris to work on the Cathedral of Saint-Denis. He said he never found out about his father, so there was no reason to stay down here anymore.
Paris?
Yes. If you find him there, tell him I don't miss him.
I am sorry for all this.
You don't have to be. What is the child's name, by the way?
He has none yet. I wouldn't name him without Jack.
Isn't that a bit silly?
Maybe. But he's his son as well as mine. It's his right to have a say in it too.
Then off to Paris. That baby needs a name.
He will get one. Thank you. I travelled back along the Way of St. James, passing through Astorga, Lyon and Burgos. I crossed the Pyrenees, revisiting Bordeaux, Angoulême, Poitiers, but never stayed longer than one night. The closer I came to Paris, the stronger my old doubts and fears resurfaced. If Jack really was there, what was I to say to him? Pull him very, very close, wishing for all the wounds to heal as quickly as they could. No, I'll find him myself. They'll only tell me to leave. They always do. There. Are we awake then? You almost missed this. Look at these colourful windows. Look at the light.
Ali.
We came to see you, Jack.
We? Is he?
He is your son.
My son?
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. Ali, where do we go from here?
Wherever we go, I want to go with you.
Will you marry me? Both of you.
We will. We stayed in Paris as husband and wife. And our son Tommy. The days went by quickly. Jack had learned much working as a builder in Saint-Denis. Days became months. Then after a year, we both grew restless. Where can we go from here, we asked ourselves again. We both confessed that we wanted to see our families, our friends. And then we knew where we wanted to go. Home. Even if it was in shambles.
We need to hurry. The ship to England will leave soon.
What's going on here?
Whatever it is, if the crowd doesn't clear up, we'll miss our ship. Could make the horse get their attention.
Or ride it through the crowd.
That sounds a bit dangerous, doesn't it?
You think?
Do you know what's going on?
Oh, chaos. I can't get these people to calm down. God knows I tried.
What happened?
The jongleur told the crowd a few stories. Then he sold people some miracle charms, but it was just fairy tales and painted stones.
Well, it always is.
I know, but I'd need a real miracle to calm them down now. Otherwise, they'll rip him apart.
This isn't the right place. No. Have you tried calming them down?
I did, but a single priest just wasn't enough.
No, that would only get me in trouble. Better not. This isn't the right place. No. Excuse me?
What's going on here?
He's a thief. He told us lies and stole our money.
But isn't that just a simple jongleur?
That poor man. We need to help him. Oh, he doesn't like it.
Neither do I. This isn't the right place.
We can't possibly push through. Not with the baby.
Do you see? It's working.
Your friend Rashid must be quite the miracle worker.
What's going on? The Holy Mother. She's crying.
Touch not the Holy Mother.
It is a sin to desecrate the image of the Virgin.
It's true! Lord in heaven! Why is she crying?
She weeps for she is lost. She seeks her true home, and we have traveled the world to find it. She weeps for she will miss her ship if you continue to block the path.
It is the Mother of God.
Forgive us, Holy Mother.
Where did she come from?
For hundreds of years, she languished in the land of the Saracens. Dormant, she has been waiting for the one to bring her home.
Listen to what he has to say. The Holy Virgin has chosen this young family to protect her. Tell us all where you are headed.
Her destination is beyond these waters. In the small town of Kingsbridge, in the earldom of Shiring. There she wants to rest.
Kingsbridge?
Where's that?
Hail Mary!
Make way for the Holy Virgin!
Hallelujah!
Make Robert well!
Huh?
Blessed Mary, let my daughter conceive.
Give us a good harvest!
They're donating to ask for her blessing.
Oh. The weeping Madonna shall hear your prayer. And with your donations, I shall build her a new shrine at Kingsbridge, a cathedral.
It's you!
Who do you mean?
You! The red-haired ghost!
Me? A ghost?
My husband is very much alive. I've known him since he was 12 years old.
But he drowned. By God, you drowned. 24 years ago. On the white ship. My poor son. My Jacques.
His name was Jacques.
Jacques Cherbourg.
Jacques Cherbourg.
So much has grown. But there are no roots, no herbs.
What are you looking at, Jonathan?
The garden is in disorder. I want it to be right again, but I don't know how to do it.
Before I became prior, I thought the same about Kingsbridge.
Well, what did you do?
I cleaned up.
Where do we start?
For plants to take root, the soil must be loose and fertile.
Oh, so we have to dig?
But it's still overgrown with weeds.
So what can we do?
Well...
Some plants are weeds and must go before we can plant new seeds.
What are weeds?
They take away what the other plants need to grow. Light, water, room.
What do we do?
Pluck them. They look a lot like every other plant, so you need to learn how to tell them apart. Here, you see those? They're called wood sorrel. Let's pluck only those for now.
I'll do it.
If you insist. Make sure to pull out all of the thin roots.
And now what do I do?
Plants also need plenty of water.
But we haven't planted anything yet. We just get mud.
Let's think of something else then. Now we can prepare the soil.
So, may I dig now? Done. What's next?
Stay here. I'll be right back. Now, where did you put them? Ah, here they are. You always said you wanted to plant these seeds and make a new garden, Milius. I think it's about time.
What did you bring?
Do you remember Milius? A kind man with a warm smile. Well, he told me to give you this.
Wow!
Now we just have to wait.
All right. How long?
Too long for us to keep sitting here.
That long.
Some things take time. And only with patience will you receive your reward.
Why do we have to do all these things if all we had to do is wait?
Simply waiting would not have been enough, Jonathan. You just paved the way for things to take their course. They are happening right now. And in a few days' time, we will return and see the first green leaf of something new.
Oh, Is it God's reward?
Maybe.
Does he make things grow?
You made it.
No, I just planted the seed.
Now you can fetch some water from the rain barrel.
But that water's smelly. It's been there forever. There are many trees by the river. I bet that water's better.
That's a longer walk, though.
I don't mind. The distance is worth it.
Maybe you're right. It is worth it. Let's walk together then.
But I'll carry the bucket.
Why isn't Remigius holding the sermon? What's gotten into Philip?
Our church lies in ruins. But all of this, these dire times, have revealed something important to us. Something that, maybe until today, I wasn't aware of.
What do you mean?
You've been praying in these ruins. But you've been praying like you always did, in humbleness. We don't need a church for prayer.
Where else are we going to pray? The chapter house?
The church is where God resides.
God doesn't work in the ways we might assume. Today, Jonathan tended to our garden to make it beautiful again. And he told me of things I almost had forgotten. Good and evil are not in here or out there. They are within each of us. We have witnessed that man carries the devil in his heart. But even before he can take a hold of man, God is born within us, as we were created in his image. Prayer needs no special place, for we are his church. In our actions, he exists.
We are God's temple.
No man is closer to God than any other man. Whether you pray in church or on the streets of our towns, whether you're a man, woman, monk, or bishop.
Philip, look outside. You have to see them. You've got to see the horses and the colours.
Jonathan. Now, what's going on?
I heard noises and I went to look.
Calm down. What happened?
But the priest said they brought a miracle.
Who? What? What priest?
Step right up, brothers and sisters. For you are about to see something that will change your life.
Who is that?
They brought us a miracle.
A miracle?
Don't be shy. There is no danger, just awe that awaits you here. Ah, you must be Prior Philip. I am Brother Reynold. I have been sent by the Archbishop of Canterbury. Here is his letter, in case you have reasonable doubts. We've been charged to accompany the Weeping Madonna. She is to replace the loss of your relic, Saint Adolphus the Martyr, who was taken from you, I hear, with brute force.
What?
On her travel from far away Africa, she has collected donations to reward Kingsbridge for your faith in her and in the Lord.
I can't believe this. What is all this?
You do believe. That is why she came. And that is why you shall witness her miracle for yourself today. The Weeping Madonna came to me in a faraway land named Africa. A baptized Saracen was her former guardian, and I and the custodians of the Holy Virgin were chosen to take her on a journey.
Baptized?
A Saracen?
I knew not her powers or destination. Nevertheless, I carried her for many miles. Many bore witness to her miracle before it dawned upon me. She wanted to go home, but where? It came to me in a dream. It was Kingsbridge. But I wondered, what shrine should be her shelter? This time, it was the Madonna herself who answered my questions. She said, "You shall build me a new church in Kingsbridge." So we set off, with the blessing of Archbishop Theobald of Canterbury. And along the road, from Paris, across Normandy, over the sea, and all the way to Kingsbridge. Devout Christians have given money for the building of the Church of the Weeping Madonna. This Church of Kingsbridge. The Weeping Madonna has chosen you, all of you. I will tell you again, dear brothers and sisters. The Weeping Madonna has chosen you, all of you.
What country did you say you came from?
We have traveled all the way from a place of wonders too marvelous to behold. The faraway land of Africa.
Africa has many countries, I've heard.
Yes, it does. And I will tell you again. She is a true miracle that will change your life as she changed mine.
What's it like in Africa?
The sun is always shining, and miracles happen every day. It's a land of great deserts, fig trees, and creatures that an Englishman can't even dream up.
Like these horses. Are they horses?
They are not. To you, they might resemble horses, but the name the Africans have for these creatures is impossible to pronounce, even for me. I will tell you again, dear brothers and sisters.
You mentioned there were fig trees in Africa. What are they?
It's a fruit, of course. It looks like a strawberry and tastes like a pear.
The scripture mentions these figs, and they sound nothing like that. Why is that?
No two apples look or taste alike. The same goes for figs, and doubly so.
I'm getting the impression that this man has never even been to Africa. But why would he lie?
You must wonder, why was Kingsbridge chosen to be the home of the Holy Virgin? She said, "You shall build me a new church in Kingsbridge." So we set off, with the blessing of Archbishop Theobald of Canterbury. I could have continued to carry her from
What is in
town
this
to
book will
town
not help me
until
more than
my
the answers
flesh
I can find in my
succumbed.
own heart.
But this was not her will.
Excuse me.
Don't interrupt.
You must be thinking, how can he be so sure? In the beginning, I was not. I only had my faith. I knew not her powers or destination. Nevertheless, I carried her for many miles. You heard me correctly. It was a long journey. The Weeping Madonna came to me in a faraway land named Africa.
Hey!
Shh! I will tell you again, dear brothers and sisters. The Weeping Madonna has chosen you. All of you. You must be thinking, how can he be so sure? In the beginning, I was not. I only had my faith. I knew not her powers or destination.
Tell me the truth. Why are you here?
We are guardians of the Holy Virgin that sheds tears. We were appointed by the Archbishop of Canterbury, but it was the Holy Virgin herself who chose us while she travelled through Europe.
Oh, yes. How did that happen?
She speaks without words.
Nevertheless, I carried her for many miles.
My dear people!
Oh, I'm so excited to see a true miracle.
Did you hear that? The Madonna has chosen us.
She's come all the way from Africa.
You must wonder, why was Kingsbridge chosen to be the home of the Holy Virgin? She said,
They look almost like
"You
horses.
shall build me a new church in Kingsbridge."
Hollow.
So we set
Feels like a
off
wicker basket
with the
covered in
blessing
pelt.
of Archbishop Theobald of Canterbury. I will tell you again,
Jonathan?
dear
They're about to
brothers
show the
and
miracle.
sisters.
Look!
Brother Reynold. I've heard of a Reynold from the coast. A scheming drunkard who lives as a traveling monk.
You think that's him?
Perhaps it is, perhaps it's not. I don't trust him either way.
The Weeping Madonna has chosen you.
Please, everyone.
Shh! We want to listen to his story.
All of you. You heard me. The Weeping Madonna came to me in a faraway land named Africa. A baptized Saracen was her former guardian, and I and the custodians of the Holy Virgin were chosen to take her on a journey.
Baptized? A Saracen?
Why are you hiding?
And I will tell you again, she is a true miracle.
I
that will
am
change
Philip.
your life.
Who are you,
as
young
she
man?
Changed mine. Many bore witness to
That's
her
not
miracle
fit for a shrine.
before it dawned upon me. She wanted to go home, but where? It came to me in a dream. It was Kingsbridge. I will tell you again, dear brothers and sisters, the Weeping Madonna has chosen you, all of you. You must be thinking, how can he be? Can you feel it? Brothers and sisters, you are about to witness a miracle. The Madonna knows how you have suffered. The Virgin Mother had to witness the rise and fall of her Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, and never stopped believing. Kingsbridge has endured many hardships. Prior James left you before his time when you needed him the most. Your old cathedral was burned to the ground.
How do you know this?
And your new one collapsed even before construction was finished. You have suffered. the ruthless destruction of your market, homes, and lives.
Dada!
All of you have lost husbands, wives, and children, family and friends.
Dada!
All of you know how it is to be hungry and afraid. But you have kept your faith.
Aliena. Philip.
And the Madonna
This
knows.
is a miracle, isn't it? Or something along those lines.
But how?
We thought it was time to give Tommy a home.
The boy? Your boy?
Well, Philip? Do you recognize him? Our little Tommy?
Tommy? But... It's been almost 3 years since I last saw you, Jack. Where on earth did you find him?
I'd almost given up looking for him. Then Tommy found him.
And you decided to come back.
Well, this is our home, after all.
Then what on earth is all this? This miracle?
With the Madonna, we were able to collect donations for your priory and for Kingsbridge.
Really?
We can start anew. We can rebuild the cathedral.
What's the catch?
I'll get to be master builder.
Why?
I've studied the cathedrals, churches, and houses they build in France and Spain. I saw how different their constructions were, with new shapes, colours, and ideas. Oh, you should have seen it. They combined rib vaulting and pointed arches. I want to do that. That's why.
Why here?
Because this is home.
What you're doing is selling the people a lie. This is a harmless deception. There is no such thing as a harmless deception.
It serves the same purpose as an illuminated drawing in the Bible.
Our show illustrates the truth that the Weeping Madonna comes from a faraway land, which it does.
And she can weep too. Though that is more of a technical achievement.
You want to sell something explainable as a miracle.
The church does the same. You said so yourself. You even wrote a book about it.
Yes, I said that it was not right that the church is faking miracles.
But it works, doesn't it?
Oh.
Jack! Aliena! You came back!
We wanted to see you, little sister.
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. But look at you! And the little one!
Tommy.
How are the others?
Alfred left Kingsbridge. Richard shows up every now and then, and Ellen returned to the forest.
We need to visit her.
Father lives with her now.
What's wrong, Mother?
I'm glad you're back.
I am too. Very glad.
She looks like she's about to cry.
She will weep for your suffering, Kingsbridge. She knows your pain.
What now?
The miracle!
Her eyes are wet.
Her eyes!
Look at her.
Heaven.
They're shining!
She cannot hold her tears any longer.
She is made of wood. It's impossible.
Why are you weeping?
She is mute ever since her husband died.
The Madonna has suffered as I have. She understands.
It seems through her faith in all of your lies, Mary has found a miracle. We can't keep trying to repair Kingsbridge by ourselves. Things are not improving. We're struggling to keep things as they are.
But we can't afford to hire help.
Without farming and fairs, we're back to Prior James's time.
All these past years, my advice was good enough for you. But it appears you've changed your mind now, again.
It is time we started doing something to wake up and make Kingsbridge what it used to be. We did before and we could do it again.
I'm not willing to accept a risk like that. Don't you remember what happened last time? My, how easily we forget.
I remember well.
And still, you put your trust into a group of random strangers to make things better. Philip, why in God's name have you stood by and let this happen? They're tricking us into giving them money for false idols.
They are giving us money.
So that we'll place this idol in our priory? Do you approve of this?
People need hope, and these travelers are giving them hope. Yes, it is a deception, but with good intentions. Mary speaks again. Is that not a true miracle?
You fell for them. You really did. And now you joyfully take part in their deceptions. I'm warning you. I cannot support a prior who tolerates heresy.
Your threat won't sway me. No matter how unconventional, their return and their gift are a blessing.
You made your decision, Philip of Gwynedd. And now, I make mine. I resign. I'm leaving the priory.
You got so big, Tommy. And you're just as shy as your father was.
Don't let him fool you. Usually, he's always up to something.
We are so proud of you. Of both of you.
Is she still here? Your wife, Agnes?
No. Ellen and Martha moved her to Kingsbridge. She got a proper burial this time.
Will you come back with us too?
Would you want that?
Yes. I need your help with the cathedral. Philip and I have big plans.
We'll come.
Ellen, we found Jack's family in Cherbourg.
The place he came from wasn't Cherbourg, it was Cherbourg.
But... really? What were they like?
They were good people.
His grandmother said Jack looked just like him, like his father.
He does. But they never came for him or asked about him.
They thought he was dead. His ship sunk. He'd always wanted to go to England.
Have you ever heard of the White Ship?
No.
The king's family drowned.
My father was there. He was the only one who survived.
Not for long.
You told me that he was accused of stealing a chalice.
Yes. But I know he was innocent. I heard the story and had to find out what he looked like. He told me his name. I fell in love. I helped him escape. But in the end, they caught up with us.
What happened then?
They hanged him. I was there. And you were there, Jack. But you weren't born yet. He was led to the gallows. Everyone was quiet. The people somehow knew he was not a thief. But I knew for sure. He told me. He was so afraid. He didn't want to die. I didn't want him to die. And I prayed. Then I heard his voice. Quiet.
Sang sweeter than
than ever, as if the falling melody might wing and net dissever. At dusk the hunter took his prey, the lark his freedom never.
No! No!
You said that 3 men were responsible for Father's death.
Who were they? The Sheriff of Shiring, Percy Hamley, Prior James of Kingsbridge, and Archdeacon Waleran Bygod. They showed no mercy. Neither did I. I curse you! All of you! He will return to haunt you! One day, you will be judged for what you did. Your houses shall be consumed by fire. Your life shall end in pain and agony. You shall grow old in sadness and regret. The people they killed will return to haunt them. I promised them.
We welcome our new prior, Remigius. He helped to recover the bones of the Saint of Kingsbridge, Adolphus, from the hands of thieves. Adolphus already rests safely in this great cathedral of Shiring. Our master builder Alfred promised me that it will only be a matter of a few years until the cathedral will be finished. And the Earl of Shiring has promised to support us. But he has not done so for himself. No, the Earl is not a selfish man. His mother, Lady Hamley, is sick. More and more, I feel the whole of England is suffering from a sickness. The sickness of war, poverty, and most of all, heathen beliefs. I have spoken to God. I asked him, begged him to walk amongst us, to heal us. But God told me that only when this great cathedral is finished will he have a temple to reside in. No matter the cost, this shall be a towering castle to protect us from evil and false beliefs. With this cathedral, we will bring an end to the dark times.
Waleran Bygod!
Jack, what are you doing here?
My father died by your hands, Waleran. His name was Jacques Cherbourg.
How dare you talk to the bishop like that?
He died right here!
Who are you?
I know that man. He's that bastard from Kingsbridge.
That man is my husband.
You?
All of you, listen to what we have to say. From now on, Kingsbridge is protected.
By our knights, by our walls, and by the word of the king.
So whatever you do, we will defend our town, our market and fulling mills.
And our cathedral, which we shall rebuild. All workers are invited to come and work for us.
Preposterous.
If you so much as try to bring harm to us, Bishop, we will make sure that you pay for everything you did.
It had been 3 years. 3 years of drought. 3 years of hunger and poverty. England was brought to its knees. Only our walls had kept us safe from the bands of outlaws raiding towns and villages. Bishop Waleran and William Hamley forced the workers to finish their cathedral in Shiring. Many had died. The work on our own cathedral had almost come to a halt. 4 weeks the storm had raged on. It was then that our cathedral gave up its last secret. And everything changed.
Tom! I told you you wouldn't like the sight of this.
It looks bad, but it's not the wall I'm worried about. It's good you sent the workers home during the storm. Now do us all a favour and do the same. Go home. Your children hardly get to see you. Tommy and Sally have been asking about you all morning. You'll kill yourself up here!
That crack down there must have been due to the storm. If the storm works, I work.
My cathedral was never designed to be this high.
I know! I reinforced the walls. It cannot be the height.
What else was damaged? I'd look myself, but I dare not come closer. If your mother knew I was up here at all, she'd kill me.
Both of us.
What?
She would kill both of us!